So the year 2023 has brought us yet another brand new fragrance by the brand Electimuss London. This time it's composed by Julian Rasconnais, who is an amazing perfumer, and this fragrance is called Aquila Absolute. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this brand new release, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on this brand new fragrance by Electimuss London, a house based out of the UK, I'll give you my thoughts on the notes, the longevity, the performance, comparisons to other fragrances, so on and so forth. But before I begin, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. So Julian Rasconnais is an amazing perfumer. He's done many fragrances for Navitus Parfums. He's worked on Raised Spirits, which is one that I creatively directed. He's also done Creed's Royal Oud. He's done so many fragrances. I mean, his list of compositions and everything in his portfolio, it goes on and on. So I would highly encourage that you look him up, especially if you feel as though a lot of what he's made is fragrances that cater to your personal taste. I think you might end up really enjoying this one. Now, this fragrance is going to be a bit on the heavier, spicier side of things. There's cardamom, there's leather, which sometimes means saffron because saffron is used in the synthesis of a leather accord. But there's white oud, there's raspberry, there is geranium, there's a lot of really interesting ingredients. Rose occupying the heart as well. So this is kind of a dark, mysterious, enigmatic, a bit sensual, and even romantic type of a fragrance. I'm looking forward to giving you my thoughts on the smell. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get that oud-rose duality. Now, oud and rose are two ingredients that have been used in conjunction with one another for such a long time, and there's basically an entire genre dedicated to this in the Middle East. Of course, oud and rose fragrances are very popular, and for good reason. I love a good oud fragrance. I love a good rose fragrance, and I think the combination of the two can end up being really special in many occasions as well. What makes this one really stand out is the fact that it uses white oud. I'm going to be honest with you, this doesn't smell animalic. This smells very smooth. There is going to be a spicy component to this as well. Of course, you have the raspberry, you have the leather, you have the saffron, and I'm smelling it and I'm thinking to myself, what does this smell like? Is it reminding me a little bit of Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton? It's a bit dark and spicy. Is it reminded me of Complex by Bodicea the Victorious? Is it reminding me of PM by Fragrance du Bois or Producer Michael? It seems to have all of these really interesting, dark, rosy, spicy, woodsy components to it, and that sort of a raspberry note that's in here is really special, and it gives it just an appropriate amount of sweetness and fruitiness without going overboard and without taking the spotlight away from some of those darker ingredients that are in here as well. It's a little resinous, it's a little incensey in the dry down as well. The spices are quite resolute. The leather, of course, lingers, but it's not a Tuscan leather type of a leather or anything like that, so you have nothing to worry about. This is not going to be redundant in your collection if, say, you do happen to have one of those leather forward fragrances. It actually does its own thing here, but the quality of the ingredients and the craftsmanship and the way that the whole thing is pieced together is really special. My only consideration would be that for a lot of people it might be a little bit too heavy for the summertime. So if you're wearing this indoors in a climate controlled environment, you'll be perfectly fine. Nothing to worry about. Keep wearing it and enjoying it. But I can see with, of course, Electimuss London strength, because all of these fragrances are crazy when it comes to longevity. They're all beast mode, everything from Puritas to Amber Aquilaria to Octavian, and all of these Mercurial, Cashmere. I mean, the list goes on and on. They all last such a long time, and they're very strongly concentrated. No exception with this one. The beautiful presentation here, and it kind of gives off this sort of celestial vibe to it that I think is really interesting. I think this is beautifully done. If you're a fan of oud, rose, raspberry, saffron, geranium, cardamom, please check this one out. I think it would be in your best interest. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, this fragrance is unique to me. I know I said Bodicea de Victoria's Complex, PM by Fragrance du Bois, Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton, but when you smell it on its own, it does its own thing. It's really quite unique, and I really do enjoy how special this fragrance is. Longevity, 12 plus hours. Projection, enormous for the first hour and a half of application within an arm's length. Elbow's length scent right around hour 7 or 8. Skin scent right around hour 11 or 12. In terms of the versatility, perfectly unisex in my opinion, although I think a lot of people would argue that it's masculine leaning on account of the resins, the woods, the incense, the spices, so on and so forth. But I think it's unisex. Perfect for the colder weather, perfect for formal scenarios, perfect for somebody who is perhaps a little bit older and has a bit more experience dealing with niche perfumes. And of course, in terms of the presentation, beautiful presentation. You guys have seen these boxes before, the silhouette of the bottle on the inside, everything about it, the name, the graphics. And here you have this sort of peppered and dotted, you know, dark blue colored bottle here, very heavy. The cap is very heavy as well, clicks into place very nicely. And it kind of has this celestial design here on the front. I think the presentation is beautiful. My final verdict on this fragrance is if you're looking for a dark, spicy, woodsy, oud-based fragrance with a little bit of fruitiness, you like the note of rose, you got to check out Aquila Absolute by Electimuss London. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and give this video a thumbs up. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.